YouTube. Hi, my name is Mark, and this is Nixon Motorsports. If you're new to this channel, we're all about motorsports, from racing to exotic cars and even simulators. Today's video, we're going to talk about barge boards for Formula race cars. With that, let's get into it. All right, so barge boards, why? Well, there's a lot of turbulent air from the front of the car. If you think about it, if you could see air moving over the front wing, through the suspension, with the tires and such, moving this direction to the side pods, what do we care about? Well, airflow through the side pods, of course, for cooling, but more importantly, well, or equally important, you have your floor. So as you can see where I'm kind of pointing, there's the front edge of my floor on this race car. And you want air to be moving through here as smooth as possible. So the barge board. Now, this is a very small example. This is my first piece in an attempt to see if I can make a difference. Its job is simply to help direct and smooth airflow through the front of the floor and ultimately around the side pods and the floor and the back edge here. That's the purpose behind barge boards. Well, outside of smoothing air, what do I care about? I think we all do. If you can add a device like a barge board and produce more downforce, hopefully with no drag or very little, then it's a very positive thing. And that's what I'm hoping I can do. Now, in this first iteration, this first concept here, as you can tell, they're relatively small, about 3 inches in height here. If I notice any kind of benefit, I'll probably do a couple other variations of barge boards here to continue in the testing of the device itself. Right, so again, last point again, downforce is really the focus and the goal. And it will be a balancing act, I believe, between added drag on the car, you know, potentially some resistance, just with the car moving forward. But if the floor, if the underbody, ultimately the downforce of the car is increased, I think it will be a positive benefit. We won't know until we get out and test. Now, as you can tell, we're not here in a wind tunnel. We do not have big simulation software to effectively design and test and develop such devices, which you should do. So this is more grassroots bucket shop stuff, right? Trying to do this ourselves. So what we have is the small pieces I've shown you. We're going to get it out on the track here the next week, and we'll be doing a bunch of runs to determine one, kind of a baseline, but ultimately if there's any benefit that I can notice as a driver. Lap times is an easy piece, but if I notice any corner speed differences, that type of thing, we'll correlate that and then use that to try to decide what are the next steps, okay? So I'll bring you along, we'll get out on track, we'll focus on this barge board on and off the car, and kind of report on the status at that point, the findings, and then what are the next steps. Make sense? So we're going to do a couple runs today. We're going to focus on these barge boards to see if it actually makes any difference, any measurable difference. They're pretty small, so I'm not sure if we will, but we'll do 1 or 2 runs, kind of get a baseline, and then we'll end up taking these off and do a comparison back to back. Should be interesting. All right, here's Jeff, here's Mark. Hey. So we've ran a couple days. We've been evaluating, I guess is the right word. We put these small barge boards on the front of the car. They look great. Now, do they perform and make a difference? That's right. The question, right?
And it's not on the front of the car, it's on the front edge of the floor.
Yeah,
the side
which is
pods.
what I meant. Right.
Yeah.
So the barge board, you want to take that dirty air coming from the front wing, front nose of the car, and help redirect it, smooth it if possible for that front edge of the floor, and to move air around the side pods more efficiently, right? If you think about it, and it kind of makes sense. I'm not an aero guy, nor are you, but
Nope.
if you can move air, clean air through the side of your car, so it actually it actually gets to the rear of the car, which is where your diffuser is and your rear wing assembly, it would be a positive gain.
Right.
Right? Versus a bunch of dirty air that's going all over the place. One, it would slow you down.
Yep. Drag.
And then, you know, it might make the rear of your car not work as well, right? So
less efficient.
Yeah. So we don't have a wind tunnel. We don't have, you know, computer modeling on this stuff. I would say driver-wise, actually, I can't tell any difference, right?
In our limited
Yeah.
knowledge with that, even on data, we can't really see a can't see a difference. But
yeah, I think the next step we should take, and I don't think we should move away from this. I think there's probably something there.
Sure.
Is to have 2 or 3 different profiles of barge board size and just style differences, where we have a test day just running back to back, and we'll put different barge boards on same day again, back to back, and do a comparison that way. I think it's the only way to really approach this, right?
Right.
Again, if anyone has comments on that experience for Formula race cars and barge boards, you know, these are not the high horsepower.
Yeah, they're not huge. They're pretty small.
Right, but you know, you could argue there's a drag coefficient that's negative. The counter to that, and we don't know that at this point, if it actually helps produce more downforce, a little bit of drag would actually be okay, within reason.
Yeah.
So we don't know that, but I don't know, what else, thoughts-wise on
Well,
barge
we could
boards?
look at I guess we could take the data from January and look at it compared to this weekend and just see if there is a slight bit more of total downforce or front rear downforce. See if it does, if something has affected that.
No, that's worth a quick check.
Yeah.
With weather differences though, ambient temperature and such, it's probably not
apples to apples.
Because I'm guessing, again, we haven't looked at that, the amount of impact is probably minimal.
Yeah.
And if we only produced, just pick a number, 5 pounds of downforce, that's such a small number.
Right.
We wouldn't know if it was just the weather, you know, air density, other things that might affect it, right? So
the gust of wind at that moment.
Yeah. But I would say at this point, they're probably going to stay in the car. One, they look cool.
Yeah.
And I think we'll just play with other shapes and dimensions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind of go
And it
from
may
there.
be something that you notice it more, like if you're following another race car, you know, that's similar speed that you're trying to pass or something. It might
That's a good point.
It could have more effect with that. Because I know it, you know, as it's directing the air, kind of pushing it away from the car, it's cleaning up other air, but it also, the air coming out from under the floor, how it affects with that, it has you know, an effect on that as well. So
see, I do suspect the barge boards with the wheel covers on the front go together.
yeah.
You know, not that you have to have both together, but you know, the wheel covers help smooth that inlet airflow. The barge boards continue to smooth the air and direct the air around the side of the car, the underside of the car.
So by themselves, they're not, but you put them together, and it might have a little bit more as you progress with it.
But
you know,
yeah, so that's it, I think, on barge boards until we produce a few more, and we'll bring you along once we do that.
more data.
All right.